We are the Mission Gmo TRIYS group from the 5th grade at Santa Rita Elementary. Our names are
Dylan Abbott,
Silberio Contreras,
Mallory DeWitt,
Drew Palmer,
Sarah Scott,
and Makalah Winn.
What is GMO? An organism or microorganism that has been genetically altered by means of genetic engineering.
Global issue. Genetically modified organisms can provide alternatives and help increase food production. This will help solve the problem of food shortages in our country as well as in the poor nations of Africa.
Our group's question is, how can we, Mission Gmo, inform the community that GMOs are safe and necessary?
Our hypothesis is, if we inform the 4th and 5th graders at Santa Rita Elementary about genetically modified organisms, then we will increase awareness by 85%.
Our group's plan of action was to determine whether or not GMOs are essential and beneficial to our society, research and gather background information on GMOs, meet with experts in the field, and inform our community about GMOs.
Implementation. Give surveys to the 4th and 5th grade students. Teach the students about GMOs. Inform parents at Math and Science Night. Set up a website with a section for comments. Pass out brochures and lollipops with our email address to place comments, and give a follow-up survey to see if we made a difference. These are some of the pros of genetically modified crops. As a finished product, GMOs have an increased shelf life of about a month, and they can be resistant to certain types of weeds and insects. They can also grow bigger than regular plants with less water, and they can withstand harsh conditions. GMOs can create extra nutrients in foods, as well as help with the war against hunger. They also help with the runoff into our water systems, and they are safe for humans and animals.
The cons of GMO crops are that they can create genetic pollination drift and superweeds and superbugs. They can also create new plant viruses and cause damage to biological diversity. They can create mutant bioinvaders and cause harm to beneficial plants and animals.
This is a book that we looked through to get some information about GMO. Eating in the Dark by Kathleen Hart. We learned that Monsanto created GMO soybeans. They did this so that the soybeans will be able to resist Monsanto's product, Roundup herbicide. A scientist fed GMO potatoes to rats. The reason he did this was to see if there would be any harmful effects. The rats that had eaten the GMO had more health problems than the rats that didn't eat any GMO. Monsanto got permission from the USDA to test GMO tomatoes that contain Bt. Bt is a bacterium found in soil used as a natural insecticide. A Swiss scientist discovered how to put vitamin A in rice. This is important because in some poor countries, people don't get enough vitamin A and they depend on rice as their main source of food. So putting vitamin A in the rice could have many health benefits. This is another book that we looked through, Genetically Engineered Food by Ronnie Cummins and Ben Lilliston. These authors are against GMO. It lists the main GMO crops in the USA such as corn, soy, and papaya. A biotech company doesn't want GMOs labeled. Most biotech companies don't want their products labeled because they're afraid that consumers may stop buying their product, so the company would lose money. Different countries have different rules about GMO. The USA has less restrictions about GMO than most countries.
Our research includes facts such as GM crops are able to grow full size with less water per plant. GM crops are pest and weed resistant because they have their own pesticide and herbicide gene in them. They also help farmers grow more on less land. They also help with the water runoff because the pesticide and herbicide will not wash off the plant and get into our water system. It can also grow in extreme temperatures with genes such as the gene from a blueberry, so it can grow in cold temperatures. It has an increased shelf life and it's impervious to most diseases.
Non-GMO labeling. The food you see here are an example of non-GMO labeling. Non-GMO labeling is where you label products that do not use genetically modified ingredients. This is something that advertisers do to attract consumers.
This is an example of our world GMO production. As you can see, the United States grows the most GM crops.
The top 10 GMO foods are, number 1 is corn, and 88% of corn is modified. Number 2 is soy, and 94% of soy is modified. And number 3 is cotton, and 90% of cotton is modified.
We met with 2 people to discuss GMOs, and we first met with Dr. Lori Branham, who's the Assistant Professor of Animal Science at Angelo State University, and we met with her on the 23rd of October.
We next met with Mr. Tim Mercer, who's a farmer that uses GMOs, and we met with him on the 31st of October. This is some of the information that we got from Dr. Lori Branham. She said that GMOs are safe and necessary to meet the growing populations, and that the crop can produce about 10 times more food than organic crops. She said that fewer farmers can produce more crops, which is a good thing, and that 70% of the foods we eat and see are genetically modified. In addition, she said that third world countries such as those in Africa would benefit from the use of genetically modified organisms, since they would be able to grow crops that could withstand harsh conditions such as drought.
This is some information we got from Mr. Tim Mercer. He said that GM crops are a major help to farmers. They grow faster and bigger and are not affected by harmful insects such as the boll weevil, but do not harm the good insects like the lacewing fly that spreads the pollen around to all the different plants. And they require no pesticides such as Roundup Ready cotton. He also said that it helps protect our water supply, helps the soil, and requires less tilling.
At Math and Science Night, we set up our trifold display, informed the community about GMOs, gave out lollipops with our email address attached to respond with comments about our website, and gave out informational brochures. These are some images of us at Math and Science Night, informing and educating the parents and students of Santa Rita Elementary.
We did several group presentations to the 4th and 5th grade at Santa Rita. We surveyed, informed, and handed out brochures to students. Students viewed our webpage and responded to it at wikispaces.com.
Whenever we surveyed the 4th and 5th graders of Santa Rita Elementary, here are our survey questions. What do you know about GMO? What do you think GMO stands for? What is GMO? Which of these foods do you think most likely has GMO in it? And do you personally think we should keep implementing GMOs in San Angelo?
Question 1 was, what do you know about GMOs? On this question, 20 more students knew something more about GMOs from the first survey to the second survey, and that was a 33% increase. Question 2, what do you think GMO stands for? On this question, 15 more students knew what GMO stood for, and that was a 25% increase. Question 3, what is GMO? On this question, 10 more students knew what GMO was, and that was a 17% increase. Question 4, which of these foods do you think most likely has GMO in it? 9 more students knew which foods had GMO in it, and that was a 15% increase.
Question 5. Do you personally think that we should keep implementing GMOs in San Angelo? 10 more students believe that we should keep implementing the use of GMOs in San Angelo. That is a 17% increase.
As you can see, we have the complete first survey data graph from the first time we surveyed the 4th and 5th grade students of Santa Rita Elementary. And now we have the complete follow-up survey data graph from the second time we surveyed the 4th and 5th graders of Santa Rita Elementary. As you might have seen, we did have an increase in the number of correct answers from our first survey to our second survey.
In conclusion, we only made a 21% increase in the awareness of the 4th and 5th grade group we surveyed regarding genetically modified organisms. Therefore, we did not meet the 85% target of our hypothesis. So either the students already knew about GMOs or we didn't word the survey good enough. And next time, we may need to be more careful about who we choose to survey.
This is our bibliography. In here, we have listed websites, books, and newspaper articles that contain information about GMO.
We would personally like to thank our 2 mentors, Dr. Lori Branham and Mr. Tim Mercer, but most of all, we would like to thank our teachers and parents for supporting us on our 2014 TRIYS project. Do any of y'all have any questions?